Welcome back to KTN Friday Briefing. Glad you're still tuned in. As I promised you, Willis, the word master, is seated right next to me. Willis, so great to have you here.
Betty, great to be in the capital city. Today, you're not asking me how is Kisumu because I'm right here in the capital city.
Yeah, I was getting sort of tired of the split screen, and I think this is much better.
And as usual, tough, cool, and authoritative.
I like that.
That is for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay.
You look very different here.
Yes.
But it's I think it's good that we're meeting. We're actually meeting for the first time with Willis. It's good. It's great that you're here. Now, Willis, I think it's time that I told you something.
Yes.
The time that I was introduced to you and I was told that you teach people about pronunciations, I was very scared to talk to you. Especially it was on phone, and I remember I was so nervous because I was like, oh, I'm gonna say something which is going to be wrong.
I know. You know what happens, Betty, when it comes to English pronunciations. The fact is, nobody can be totally perfect, not even myself, because of so many reasons. You see, languages are too wide, and we are learning English as a second or a foreign language. So nobody can be totally perfect when it comes to pronouncing words. And I'm talking about what we call RP, received pronunciation, which is the standard form of the British pronunciation, which is characteristic of the southern part. Mark that, southern, not southern. Southern
and
parts of
I like
England.
it when you explain and you do this.
It's important. The gestures are very important.
Important.
You can say important or important if you cannot produce what we call a consonant cluster, the terminal part of the word.
I feel I should be recording this for future use. But Willis, I mean, so where did you study, and what is the background? How did you come to learn how to and become so passionate about pronunciations?
Betty, there is something I've never told you.
Okay.
I'm a man who is very keen on communication.
All right.
Call it English, call it Kiswahili. I'm very keen on the grammar part of it and pronunciation. Now, when it comes to English, the English pronunciations, I'm so passionate about that because at some point of time, you see, most people, especially in the larger Western Kenya region, when you talk of Willis or Chieng, they'll be talking about Kiswahili because at some point I was anchoring news in Kiswahili in a regional radio station and doing another program that is in the station was based in Kisii, and then another station, a larger media house bought the frequency and they're using it now. But having said that, Betty, in most cases, I was wondering, if you can remember when you were in primary or even pre-primary, sometimes somebody could tell you, and many people grow with that in their minds, the tortoise. Now I could wonder, now tortoise. Of course, we look at the spelling, but the correct pronunciation of that word is tortoise. Now, I used to ask myself questions. I was having an amalgam of pronunciations. Then at one stage, an amalgam means, different pronunciations for similar words, just the same word. You find maybe one of your teachers is saying this, you hear another person, sometimes even a professor saying that. When you check what we call now the international phonetic alphabet, which is given in good books like the dictionaries and all that, you find there is a problem because the communication now is not achieved the way it should be achieved. So at some point a man called Andy Cook, who was doing his PhD, came to Kenya. He was from London. We don't say London, London. So
London,
the man came, Andy Cook, and when he found the way I could speak English, when that one I was in fact Form 3, then he asked my father. By then my father was alive. Asked him, what exactly, where did you take this boy? Has he been to London? My father told him, no, this is a village boy, born and bred. So he started teaching me what we call the British English phonology. That is the sound system in English. That is the standard English. Then I developed that interest, and then many people will tell you I'm a man of books.
You're a man of
books on what we call standard English pronunciations. At some stage, I taught at school in South Nyanza, that is Homa Bay County,
Alright.
Obera High School. I taught at Gusii Highlights High School, then Kisii Progressive, and I also, at some stage, this is a revelation to you today, I was the news editor at that regional radio station.
All right. Hey,
yes.
such a huge background. But just very briefly before you get to anchor the news for us, I mean, someone would argue, do I really have to get that pronunciation correctly? If I've told you something and you understand what I'm saying, if I say spinach, not spinach, it's still okay as you've understood. Nataka ile mboga spinach.
There is a linguistic provision for that, Betty. In most cases, what is more important about pronunciation in any given language is the ability to communicate with the respective audiences. It's very important.
Okay.
So long as somebody understands what you're saying. But Betty, we must also remember that when it comes to what we call careers of serious communication or formal communication, the ultimate goal is to achieve the clear and effective delivery of intended messages. I would ask you a question. If somebody told you today that the drivers are floating the rules, float
It's wrong.
kwa Kiswahili ni kuelea, kuelea kwa maji na nini.
Yes.
But somebody would say floating the rules instead of flouting. So F-L-O-A-T is float. F-L-O-U-T is flout. So if you are in a career of serious communication, like a marketer, a broadcaster, a teacher, a lecturer, a magistrate, a lawyer, a judge, and all that, you need to use, the correct pronunciation. You may not get it very right, but you should use a pronunciation that shows, you have some command of good. It can be attractive, but nobody can be totally perfect. The most important thing, deliver a message to your audience in a way that they can understand.
All right, great. Willis, great insights there. So now we want to put your expertise, in pronunciations to test. Kenyans have been waiting for this moment to see you anchor the news. And there is the story that I had, told you about earlier. Just take us through it. You can start by introducing yourself, and we'll speak more later. All right.
Well, dear viewers, I'll start by saying this is KTN, the authoritative station as usual. Anyway, here is Willis Ochieng. Bullfighting has put Kakamega County on the national map. What started as a cultural practice has gained popularity, with fights now staged almost every weekend. But what does it take to train a bull to fight? Rita Tinina has the details in the following story of Mukhangala, a 300-kilogram bull which has won 8 out of 12 fights in the last 2 years.
It started as a cultural practice, but bullfighting is increasingly gaining popularity in Kakamega County. But before the bulls can lock horns in a fight, it takes some effort and weeks of preparation by bull owners. In Malinya, Kakamega County, we meet Mukhangala. He spends most of the morning in his shed. But after a round of feeding, it is time to get out, and he knows the drill. He needs to be tethered before he can leave the shed. Once outside, it is evident that he cherishes the outdoors. And as if to show off his prowess, he begins pawing at the ground. He shows off some more, digging the ground with his horns. Mukhangala is a bullfighting champion in his own right.
Amekuwa akipigana saini karibu miaka miwili na amepigana karibu mechi 12. Ameshinda mechi 8.
On this day, he is taken out for a walk, but he chooses to end the walk in this shamba and embark on one of his favorite activities. Before Mukhangala can face off during a fight, preparations begin weeks in advance. Getting him ready involves more of diet than exercises.
Unamlisha vizuri sana. Unamlisha nyasi, unga, yatuka, anakula mzuri, yani kila time chakula iko hapo.
Feeding this 300-kilogram bull is not cheap. His diet includes fodder and protein feed.
750. kwa siku. Au ng'ombe wengine wanaweza kula 150 ama 200.
That means that in a month, Musina spends at least 20,000 shillings just to feed Mukhangala. The special diet aside, the bull has his own specialized doctor, and it has nothing to do with a vet.
Uchwe kuna daktari wa kienyeji mwenye huwa anatibu ya ndume. Ndio anakuja anaanza kuipea matawa ya kienyeji ya kuchua sasa kuiletea ukali.
And in Kakamega, the bull to doctor ratio is 1:1.
Kama anatibu ndume hii, hawezi kutibu ndume nyingine, kwa sababu huyo akitibu ndume nyingine, hizo ndume kama ni siku ya kupikana alafu sishikane, kumaliza hiyo vita ni shida.
On the eve of a fight, the bull's horns are sharpened. His minders also give him signals to alert him that the big day is here.
Hiyo inaitwa kishisiliva. Hiyo ikianza kupika, unapika na kuna vichuma tena special, unaanza kukuanisha sasa, najua tu leo nitakane niende vita.
Mukhangala is somewhat a king around here. His minders have to calm him down from time to time, all the while he's outside his shed. And for that, you need a special stick.
Anajua ukikonga hiyo mti unamuonyesha mpaka yako fika hapo.
Mukhangala, a Frisian breed, has been fighting for 2 years. Musina says the bull is still at its peak.
Sasa huyu hawezi tumika kwa kitu kingine, kulima ama kazi nyingine hakuna, hii ni vita tu. Siku ile ataritaya sasa ni nyama.
With Mukhangala's retirement inevitable, Musina, who says the bullfighting culture runs in his family, is planning ahead. Another bull, Mboko, is being groomed to take Mukhangala's place when he retires. Musina is planning further ahead. This young bull named Shikuku may one day grow up to fight in the league of the Mukhangalas. And by the look of things, Shikuku is catching on quite fast.
Vile ndume akishasaliwa mwenyewe unamwangalia, ndume wa kupikana huwa unaona ako na machachari sana.
Bull owners like Musina, however, feel let down by the county and national governments, which they argue are not doing much to promote the decades-old practice.
Serikali kiingilia alafu kuchengea ile statue ya bullfighting kama Spain. Mimi naonelea, nimeona Spain kitoko nikiona kwa TV, naona Spain iko na mpango kamili, ingawaje ndume inapikana na
Mukhangala here is on a month's break before his next big showdown, with fights now staged almost every weekend. What started as a cultural practice is increasingly gaining popularity here in Kakamega County as local leaders try to book bullfighting a place on the Western tourism circuit. Rita Tinina, KTN, Malinya, Kakamega County. Thank you, Rita. Such an interesting story.
You know what caught my eye, Betty? Where the young man is kneeling,
yes,
and trying to to train that
out.
I don't know. Anyway, God's case, no appeal. But that's wonderful.
That's what should be on the international scene.
And a wonderful piece by that reporter, Rita Tinina.
Rita Tinina.
I hope I've gotten the name right.
You've gotten the name right.
Wonderful work.
People on Twitter are saying Betty today is not herself. She's fearing to utter a word because Willis might just,
Not really.
All right. Now, Willis, there's so many people who are texting me and tweeting me and asking me for you to help them pronounce some words. And the one that has stood out, the whole period that we've been together on the show, is issue or issue.
Oh yes. Now, Betty, this word, it's among the English words which have alternative pronunciations which are acceptable. There are two. You can say issue. You can also have what we call a vowel glide, issue. So if you say issue, no problem. If you say issue, no problem. Just like we say tissue and tissue, both are allowed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
you
even when we talk
tissue paper.
Yeah, tissue paper.
Wow.
Remember also pepper, pili pili, pepper.
Yes.
P-E-P-P-E-R.
Yeah.
But karatasi, paper. A vowel glide, A, paper. Very tricky.
A.
Yeah, A.
Okay.
Paper. Get me the paper.
Yes.
And bring me some pepper. So you can realize there is some what we call, those are minimal pairs, words with only one feature of sound difference when you're pronouncing them.
You know, I can hear my directors laughing because I'm sure they mispronounce those words certainly.
So issue is issue or issue. You can also say tissue and tissue. So they should catch that. But it's a very popular word.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you said, let me challenge you, Willis. You said that you worked as an editor at a Swahili station. Is there any pronunciation that you can help my colleagues, Kina Limanzu, Monaisha, Zubeida, something that you can help them with? A word?
Yeah, when it comes to Kiswahili, Betty, by the way, pronunciations are sometimes a problem, not only when we talk about English language, even Kiswahili. There is this English word, control. Ni kudhibiti, dhibiti, or dhibitisha. Control a situation.
Yes.
Lakini there is a word, thibitisha. Thibitisha. Polisi wamethibitisha. Most people find themselves saying polisi wamethibitisha. Just like somebody would say thelathini instead of thelathini.
Okay.
Medali instead of metali. We have what we call a voiceless sound, ta. Then the voiced sound, da. So voiceless is where the vocal cords vibrate.
Okay.
I mean, when we have a voiceless, that is when there is no vibration. Voiceless, no vibration.
Okay.
But voiced, we have the vibration of the vocal cords. Like all the vowels, if you hold here, you'll feel the vibration. So we say polisi wamethibitisha.
Thibitisha.
Yeah, thibitisha, si thibitisha.
Alimanzu natumai umeelewa hiyo. All right, Willis, take us to for a short commercial break. Camera.
Okay. Well, here we are, and we are taking you through a commercial break. And this is Willis, your guest anchor for today.